On this episode of Latinas, we'll learn about Uptown Fashion Week and its impact on Latin designers, get schooled on AfroLatinidad just in time for Black History Month, and so much more. Welcome to Latinas, the show that's all about nuestras mujeres in the Latinx community. I'm Tinabeth Piña. February is not only the month for love, but also for New York City Fashion Week. And what better location to host today's show than from the New York Sewing Center in the heart of the Garment District, where anyone can learn how to sew. And we'll be talking more about fashion later in the show. But first, February is Black History Month, and Latinos overall don't see themselves in traditional racial categories. But as the new 2020 census approaches, there is a need to accurately account for those who identify with Latinidad and Blackness. Elena Romero has the story.
Latinx heritage is both multidimensional and complex, but a recent push in the U.S. for self-identity, recognition, and acceptance is unifying many Latinx descendants through their visible Blackness.
AfroLatinidad is the construction that centers the Black experience within the Latinx experience. Oftentimes, I think people think of pride, they think of flags. We have an indigenous component, we have an African component, and we have a European component. When we actually look at the history, what is emphasized? The indigenous is almost never actually looked at. We think of the indigenous element, particularly in the Caribbean, as this lost mythic past. And then we never celebrate Blackness at all, except for in folkloric moments.
Dr. Vanessa Valdez, an Afro-Boricua, is the director of the Black Studies Department at the City College of New York. She says there's a complex relationship between Latinidad and Blackness, and that celebrities like Amara La Negra have been pushing the conversation of Afro-Latinidad forward.
I think she did a tremendous contribution in terms of activating that conversation, because that was in your face. It was on Instagram, it was on Twitter, it was everywhere, right? And she was educating a lot of people.
A lot of people don't know that there's Afro-Latinos, that there's Latin people that look like me in every Latin country. Not everybody looks like J-Lo, Sofia Vergara, Salma Hayek, There's a lot of people that look like me.
A 2014 Pew Research study showed that 1/4 of all U.S. Latinx self-identified as either Afro-Latinx, Afro-Caribbean, or of African descent with roots in Latin America. This was the first time a nationally representative survey in the U.S. had directly asked the question.
It's going to be interesting to see how people identify with this particular census. Again, certainly when we talk about the word Afro-Latino or Afro-Latina or Afro-Latinidad, it feels like it has become, it's more in the world, certainly in the last decade, right? With the publication of the Afro-Latino Reader in 2010, it entered a new currency, right? So we'll see how people identify. Are they going to check all the boxes? Or are they going to check just one?
Oh, what's her name?
Kim Haas, president of Haas Media, has been passionate in documenting and celebrating the Afro-Latinx culture through her blog, Los Afro-Latinos, which honors and celebrates the contributions of Africans who've helped shape and form the culture of the Spanish and Portuguese-speaking Americas.
Is the attitude of Latinos embracing Blackness changing?
I think it's an evolution, because I don't know if you just wake up and all of a sudden, you feel good about, especially if you've had years and years of not being noticed, not being honored, not being valued. We're looking at a variety of factors. I think social media is playing a tremendous role. I think DNA testing can play a role. We're learning more about what it becomes and what it means to be a Latino. What does it mean? And what does it mean to be Black? Every human being wants to be heard and wants to feel valued. And in my experience talking with many Afro-Latinx, many have said, I feel invisible. I don't feel heard. I feel like people say I'm not Black, but I'm not Latina, and I feel in this crossroads, this no man's land. And I hope that what we can do through the blog is really celebrate and say, hey, here's a community of people. Here are amazing women who are doing incredible work in their respective fields, and let's give them the attention they deserve and celebrate their work.
Dr. Valdez couldn't agree with Haas more.
What we choose to do, it's all on an individual basis. How we conduct ourselves, how we want to move through this world. Saying that Blackness is something of value and that folks of African descent not only have built this country, literally, but also have contributed in a number of ways that we were never educated on.
For LATiNAS, I'm Elena Romero.
Now, if you're Latinx and an aspiring designer who already knows how to sew, you definitely need to learn about Uptown Fashion Week and the fashion designers of Latin America. They are both founded by one Latina, Albania Rosario, who wants to showcase the best Latin designers during New York Fashion Week.
Could you have imagined at 18 years old coming here from the Dominican Republic that you would not only be creating this fashion business, but that you would actually be changing lives? It goes beyond fashion.
It does. Obviously, I came here with the dream of being a model. But I always knew, I had to come here to this country to go to school. My dad thought it was the best for us. I had to leave my mom behind in the Dominican Republic to come here. So I knew in my head that I just didn't want to just come here and be one more. You know what I mean? I wanted to, if I have to leave the country that I love so much, and if I have to leave my mom, who's like, I was the light of her life, and she still is. She's in heaven right now, watching over everything I do, and I'm sure she's very proud. If I had to leave all that behind, it's not so that I can come here and just be one more immigrant.
And you came up with Uptown Fashion Week.
I decided to do Uptown Fashion Week because I understood that the industry is such huge industry. And all of that success was literally staying below 59th Street. What I realized what I could do with that is that I could take that same scenario and the same opportunity, but offer it to the people that have the talents, that have the abilities, but don't have the way to getting in New York Fashion Week. And the first couple of years, I'm not gonna lie to you, it was a mess. I didn't have the right models. I didn't have the right team. I didn't have the right, support behind me, but I still made it happen. You gotta start somewhere. And it's so funny because now today, almost 10 years later, when I say the story, it's so emotional because one day in a nightclub uptown with 6 designers and all these, people from the community there as a crowd, and now we are working with over 50 designers from all around the world. Most of these designers who never thought they could ever make it into the scene in New York for Fashion Week.
And how did that change? How did that go from being Uptown Fashion Week and Latin designers here in the New York City metro area to becoming designers from all of Latin America?
And the reason why that happened is because I fought so hard to make sure we were inside the official calendar of New York Fashion Week. I said, look, I have these designers, I have this. Now we're bringing established designers such as Agatha Ruiz de la Prada, Benito Santos, Michael Costello, who are getting behind this because they see that we're supporting the up-and-coming Latinos.
Awesome. But the other important part of it is that it's just not just a business for you either. It's not just about fashion.
Yes, this is a part that really touches me a lot because I know a lot of people out there might just say, oh yeah, this is a Dominican woman who's putting together a fashion show. And I actually, would love for people to know that there is so much more to this than a fashion show. Yes, there is beautiful purses, beautiful outfits, but there is a human part behind this whole scene that most people don't get to see. And that is exactly what I'm mostly in love with in what I do.
What advice would you give to up-and-coming Latina entrepreneurs or anyone wanting to go after their dreams and making them happen?
Go for what you believe in. If you see it, if you have the vision and you can see further and you can see where that vision is going to take you, close your eyes to the side and just go straight and go for it. Become obsessed with it. My favorite quote is, don't take criticism, constructive criticism from someone who hasn't constructed anything.
The The Latinx community has a very complicated relationship with the N-word. And should we even be saying it in the first place or at all? And that's today's Caliente Caliente.
So Latinas using the N-word, it depends on which Latina, because, some of the Latinas are not Afro-Latina, or not in the culture to be using it. So I think it depends on who it is, who's saying it. Like with Gina Rodriguez, I don't see her in the hip hop culture. I don't see her around black people. I don't see her, fighting for black people when there is an incident. I don't see her doing that, so I don't think she should be using it.
Let's be real, a lot of Latinos don't accept the Afro-Latino identity. A lot of black people don't accept the Afro-Latino identity. So for me, it makes it a little tricky, right? Because it could be someone who is in the community, who is down for the cause, but can be received differently from, depending on who's delivering it and to whom she's saying and where. You know what I mean? So it gets really complicated,
Yeah, I don't want any of us to use the word.
I'm sort of in that vein too.
Especially in today's society, just with everything that's been going on against our black and brown children, I'm not comfortable with the word, and we've all been guilty of using it as amongst one another, amongst our friends. But I think as time moves on and as we see things such as Gina Rodriguez, a prime example, she's been in the press more than once saying things that have been deemed derogatory towards African Americans, and then you have to retract it. And then when you saw her apology, it's like, I'm not really sure when these apologies come out after people use this term, whether you say ER at the end or A is unacceptable. Are they clear on what the apology is for and the significance of using that word, and even why it's hurt a community for so long and the derivative of it? I feel like we all need to do better, in trying to just silence the N-word.
I identify as a Black Latina, so yeah, I certainly feel like I'm connected with the African American community. But if there's an African American voice that's telling us we should not be using this term, we shouldn't be using it, just pure respect of solidarity among people of color, and simply because we know, well, some of us know the history and the hate that comes with it, But it's again, it's very layered and very complicated.
But doing the devil's advocate, Cardi B also uses it, and she's accepted because she was from the Bronx. She's in the hood, and she's connected to black and brown, whereas some others aren't. And then it's in our songs, it's in everyday talk for some people, depending on where you live. So sometimes, I know for me, sometimes it's a challenge not to say it amongst friends, as you mentioned.
I don't want to hear the word used. And as I get older and as I see, with this president that we have in office right now and what we're really seeing come out of this, and, the hatred that has always been there, but now people are feeling more comfortable. Until we recognize that this word was created, the use of this word has always been a negative. And we really educate our youth and people our age, right? We know people our age that use it. I just think we've gotten so comfortable with it. It's a hard thing to break, but I'm not more offended if someone Latino or someone Black uses it. It makes me cringe when I just hear it, period.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I from the onset, feel very strongly about the word. And I think now more than ever, given where we are as a society and as a country, white folks are reclaiming that word, and they're coming after us, right? And I think whether we're Black, Latino, whoever we are, however you identify, it's scary out there. And I think we need to really, re-educate ourselves or educate ourselves and recognize that, yeah, that term of endearment may exist, but it's still being used very actively in a form of hate. And so we have to be, we also have to be armed with that. So I'm not comfortable. So I definitely agree with you. I think we all have to just, hold each other accountable.
Celia Cruz was a Cuban singer and one of the most popular Latin artists of the 20th century. She rose to fame in Cuba during the 1950s as a singer of guarachas, and in the following years became internationally known as the Queen of Salsa. Throughout her career, the Grammy Award-winning artist collaborated with other salsa legends and recorded 23 gold albums. Although Cruz passed away in 2003 at 77 years old, her catchphrase, azúcar, is one of the most recognizable words in salsa music. Celia Cruz is today's Badass Latina. Last month, Puerto Rico was hit with a series of earthquakes that produced irreparable damage just as the island was rebuilding after 2017's Hurricane Maria. Judith Escalona reports on this new challenge.
In January, 2 years after Puerto Ricans began digging themselves out of the rubble of Hurricane Maria, a magnitude 6.4 earthquake shook the island, tearing up roadways, leveling homes, and plunging the entire island into darkness.
Right now, the psychologists that we work with that are on the ground are telling us that their opinion for most of the patients that they've seen, it's best for them to evacuate the area because it's such a traumatizing experience to go through 20 tremors a day in between 2 earthquakes back to back.
Los refugios están ubicados en 14.
Jodie Roure is a professor at John Jay College of Criminal Law of the City University of New York. She organized teams of doctors and nurses to send to the island during the devastation of Hurricane Maria.
I think this time it's more in a region, and so we have the experience, right, from the first situation with Irma and then the second one with Maria, where they're organized enough through the Colegio de Médicos and other organizations that they're able to have these brigades of doctors in place right away.
Though contained to the southwestern part of the island, tremors were felt nationwide. Puerto Ricans already knew not to wait for federal assistance. They immediately came to the aid of Guayanilla and Guanica, the hardest hit towns near the epicenter of the earthquake. Sonia Fritz's documentary Después de María, Las Dos Orillas, offers some powerful examples of neighbors helping neighbors soon after the hurricane.
I wanted to reflect like the other part of what was happening, that many ONGs that were doing an enormous amount of work and weren't getting the recognition on media. So it was really more about what people were doing on their own, not waiting for the government aid or for FEMA's aid, but really taking their destiny in their hands.
Like the women in Caguas who broke into a school kitchen and began cooking for their neighbors, or the fishermen of Naguabo, where a local biologist acquired funding and hired fishermen to recover underwater traps that threatened to pollute the sea. Some of these initiatives and others have evolved into permanent programs, but with the continuing economic crisis and now the earthquake disaster, Puerto Ricans are again being tested.
Hopefully people can use this documentary for classes or just to spread the word of what's happening, and hopefully they come either as volunteers or they come as tourists. Anything that keeps Puerto Rico in the map, I think, is important.
Judith Escalona for LATiNAS.
Decadence, beauty, and style. All the key ingredients that make up MarieBelle, a brand of gourmet chocolate founded by Honduras native Maribel Lieberman. Abby Ishola visited her flagship store in Soho to find out how she turns chocolate into little works of art.
It feels like I'm standing inside of a beautiful patisserie in Paris. But oh no, I am in New York City inside of MarieBelle, a wonderful chocolate shop in the heart of Soho. I can't even begin to describe how beautiful and tasty these treats are. MarieBelle, this place is beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes, what inspired you to open a store like this in Soho?
I first opened my store in Nolita in the year 2000, and after September 11, we all were suffering in downtown, but Soho was a little busier than Nolita, and I rented this space just as a temporary space. Today they call them pop-up shops. The product was always received 100% positive. You know, it was something new that I was introducing. And New York is a leader in creativity, and And this is the perfect audience to introduce something new.
Within the span of 19 years, Lieberman has opened several locations in Japan, one in Dubai, and one in Brooklyn, where all of her delectable treats are made and packaged by hand.
This is our factory. This is where everything happens. In this little factory, you're going to see that we produce about 10,000 pieces of bonbons a day, besides the other products like truffles, you know.
Once the chocolate is in place, the brand's signature bonbons go through a silk screening process that turn them into little works of art.
I remember 19 years ago when I made my first collection of 10 flavors, and people were saying, oh, who's gonna eat blue chocolates or green chocolates? And I like to satisfy the palate, and I think the recipe is the most important. Mm-hmm. But visual is just as important.
Yeah, I eat blue chocolate. So imagine my excitement when it came time for my taste test.
So this one, you can see, once you taste it, the lavender is very gentle taste. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I went to a lavender farm not too long ago, and it reminds me. Mm-hmm. Lieberman credits her background as a chef for her knack for mixing different flavors into her products.
And it's a cute gift.
As for her business savvy, well, she first figured out how to make money as a child growing up in Honduras.
I was 8 years old when I started making caramels and selling in school. That was an amazing experience. I come from a very big family, and we were very independent. And at the age of 9, I was able to buy a pair of shoes with my own money.
So what advice do you have to other Latinas who are looking to start something creative and beautiful and different, like you did?
I mean, it's very important to when you arrive here, to integrate into the culture of your new country, to learn the language, English, you know, to study as much as possible. That's the number one thing, and don't be afraid. One of the reasons why people don't do things is because they have a lot of fears. And that's fears is a monster, it's an enemy, and I think we should always be positive.
Words of wisdom.
Yes.
If heaven had a New York City address, it would be 484 Broome Street. Go to MarieBelle.com for more information. I'm Ishola for LATiNAS.
What I don't like that people ask me, being a Latina, is that if I date a lot of men, or that if I have a lot of partners, we're known as a passionate woman, but I mean, I don't think it should define someone, so.
The romance novel industry is a billion-dollar one, but how many Latinas do you see finding their way to a happily ever after in those books? Award-winning author Alexis Daria is making sure that there's more Latinx representation in romance novels, and that's why she's today's Latina on the Rise.
Growing up, I read a lot, but I really didn't see myself, a Puerto Rican girl growing up in the Bronx, reflected in the stories that I was reading or the stories that I wanted to read. So after a certain point, I decided that I was going to write those stories.
Not only has Alexis put more Latinas in her novels, she's winning awards in the process. Her debut novel, Take the Lead, which follows Puerto Rican protagonist Gina Morales finding love on and off the dance floor, won the 2018 Rita Award for Best First Book.
The Ritas are the Oscars of romance novels. It's the biggest award that we have. It's awarded by the RWA, the Romance Writers of America. It felt amazing. It also happened a lot faster than I thought it would. Being a finalist for the first book was not expected, definitely appreciated, and just the overwhelming support that I received after that was great, because I think I'm only the second Latina to ever win a Rita.
Alexis is currently hard at work on her next set of novels, a mystery series about a Latina sleuth, and a romantic comedy series centering on 3 Puerto Rican cousins in New York City. The first book in that series, You Had Me at Hola, follows a fictional telenovela starlet, due out later this year.
In my novels, I aim to promote Latinx culture by showing a lot about the family dynamics, particularly in my female characters and their relationships with their mothers. I think it's important that we normalize these stories that aren't just about our pain or about our struggles, and show people like us finding love, finding success, living happily ever after, and not just adhering to the stereotypical view that has been perpetrated so far in the media.
Alexis not only writes novels, but she also tries to make sure she mentors and uplifts other Latina authors as well.
There are some authors who I mentor, and I also teach and do workshops. I have taught some on craft, on branding. I have one workshop called Graphic Design for Authors. I hope that what I've done and what I am doing paves the way for other Latina authors and Latinx authors. I try to talk with the ones who I know and provide mentorship and answer questions and just make myself available in that way, even just with encouragement.
And that's our show for today. For more information on what you just saw, check out our website at tv.cuny.edu and follow our social media profiles. We love sharing our Latina stories with you. And please make sure you tune in next month where we'll talk about Latinas and pay equity, visit a feminist bookstore in Brooklyn, and so much more. Make sure you watch. Hasta la próxima. Bye-bye. So tell me what we have here.